Okay, so I guess even the screen is visible. It's completely visible, I guess. Okay. So first of all, let's go with the basic option. Like, what is this web designing, and what are we going to learn in this course? So first of all, speaking of web designing, generally, as soon as if we ask like web designing in the sense, the first thought that comes in mind will be designing the websites. But for what purpose do we design this website? In the sense, mainly there will be two options. One option will be we want to display some information of an organization, or it may be any business. We want to display or information online. That is on the internet. We want to display the information. So the best option is designing the website and putting it online. The next option will be the main purpose of this is we want to display this on the internet, and the main option will be the global marketing. Because a simple option, like if I am starting up some new company, and if I want to have my marketing around the world, I want to do marketing around the world. Like if I'm providing some service, like let us take, I'm taking online sessions. So if I'm taking the online sessions and this should be around the world, and I want to take up the classes around the world, I can be able to give the training. So simply what I'll do is because I can't go with brochures, pamphlets, distribution of those, because it can be to a specific region, to a specific state. But entire around the world distributing the pamphlets, brochures won't be possible. So yeah, the best option would be we want some tool in such a way that if I want to display my information that is about the organization in such a way that around the world, anyone sitting around the world can be able to view that. So in that case, the best option is to put the information, or like whatever the services I provide, what is my organization, how can you get into contact with me, what are the services that we provide. So all this information, whatever is there, I want to put it online. The best option is designing the website, and I can go for marketing it around the world. That is, anyone around the world can view the site. Now, when we say we want to design a website, like suppose let us take this. So here, this is one institute, and we are displaying the whole information. That is nothing but what are the courses we provide, what is our institute, from who provides what course, and all the details will be providing here. Now this can be viewed around the world by any of the user. Okay, and even the business will be done. Like if they like this, so if they want to go with the course, then simply they join, and then the business will be done. Now here, when we say a website in the sense, it's nothing but different pages, group of web pages. Like here you can see courses in the sense, again these are different options. So if you click on something, now this is a separate page. Again, if you want to view something like about us, then again when you click on this, again this will be a separate page. Okay, so in generally speaking, we say website designing, but the main option will be nothing but designing different pages. As a web designer, we'll be designing some different pages, and at the end linking up with each other, so that will be a complete website. Now whenever we want to start up designing a website, like when I want to design some web pages, the main technologies that we require, like we need to build up this something like background color here, some background color, some social icons, logo, menu, some different options are there. So if I want to display something of this type, so first of all, like what are the technologies that we require? In the sense, the first technology that we require will be HTML. HTML is nothing but hypertext markup language, where we want to display some content on the browser. So I'll just show you an example. And in general, whatever the pages we view on the browser are nothing but HTML pages. Okay, so let us take this page, because this will be something like the basic structure of the page. When we go with the HTML, we'll be dealing all with this. So here the main option this of this HTML is nothing but we want to first of all create a HTML page, and within the HTML is nothing but the hypertext markup language. It is a markup language where we'll be completely displaying the content on the browser. For an example, I want to display some text in the form of a heading. So this completely markup language in the sense completely deals with the tags. By use of tags, we'll be displaying the content, and that is mainly these tags are used to define the content in what form we want to define the content. I want to display the text in the form of heading. Then simply what I'll do is I'm defining a tag over here. The same thing. I want part of the text something like in the form of paragraph. Uh, I guess you have joined Takani. Can you please mute from your side? You can mute the mic. Okay. So here, so first of all, like we want to display some content on the HTML page. Then we require that HTML language, that is nothing but markup language, which will be completely dealing with the tags. And these tags are nothing but used to display the content in different forms. Like it may be some heading, it may be some paragraph. Like suppose if this is a HTML page and if I want to view this in the browser. So you can see because I have defined some different tags. Tags won't be displayed in the output, but in the what tag we have defined. So according to that tag, the content will be displayed. Like it may be text related, it may be images, it may be forms, different options will be there. So first of all, like we want to display some content in the browser or simply the HTML page. We'll be using the HTML language, that is nothing but hypertext markup language, which will be completely dealing with tags. So by using some different tags, we'll be able to display some content. Now, once after displaying this content, so by default it is some black color, some boldish type. This is a little bit smaller size, but it is same black color. I want to apply some styles. So styles may be something related to fonts, it may be related to backgrounds, it may be related to the color of the text, it may be related to dimensions, spacings, positions, number of options will be there. Okay, so here first we want to display the content. When the content is displayed, to that content we want to apply some properties, so mainly for styling. Then we will be using the CSS, cascade style sheet, which are nothing but consists of different properties, and these properties are nothing but mainly used to define some style to the HTML element. So first of all, we need to define the HTML. Once the HTML element is displayed, that is some content based on the tag what we have used is displayed. To that, when we want to apply some styling, then we go with using the CSS. For an example, just I am using here, I want to apply some color to the text. So I have just applied some CSS property. So now you can see directly some text color is applied to the text. Okay, so this depends. It depends on like for what purpose or what type we want to, what style we want to apply. It may be related to fonts, backgrounds, dimensions, borders, lists, or positions. Different options will be there. Okay, so this will be the main technology. Like if when I say like I want to create some HTML page, so first part will be the HTML, which is hypertext markup language, nothing but completely dealing with the tags. So by using the tag, we'll be displaying the content in various forms. It may be blocks, it may be headings, paragraphs, lists, hyperlinks, images, videos we want to display, forms we want to display. Because so directly we can't be able to display, but in the form of like by using some HTML element, we can be able to display. And once the content is displayed, because by default directly when you define with HTML, it won't display in this part. It will be basic text, normal options there. So we have to define the styling, like the top part. I require full width with a specific height. Then I'll be defining some CSS properties. I require this text to be in white color. Then I need to define some CSS properties. Okay, I require these images to display one by one with a specific size. Then first of all, to display the image, some HTML element to define the sizes, again CSS properties. So like this mixture, mixing up HTML. First of all, we need to define the HTML. Then to that HTML, we need to add up some CSS properties. Okay, so these two will be the main technologies that we'll be using to create a web page. But at the same time, while we go with the designing the pages by using HTML and CSS, sometimes we may want to have some actions, we may want to have some functions to be applied. Like for an example, if within this site, like when you check out the syllabus, so here you can see there is something like main topics. But if we want to go like what in this we are going to learn, you just click on this plus. So this will be expanding. That is, as soon as we click on the topic, once it will expand, again you click, it will just come back. Okay, so this is nothing but some function. In general, displaying the content, defining the styling, these will be HTML, CSS. But here some logic we want to apply, some functionality we want to apply, that when the user will click on this, if it is not displaying anything, first it should display. Again, when the user will click on this, it should just hide the content. Or now when I've reduced the browser width, so you can see there is no horizontal menu, but some icon is displayed. And when I click on this, some menu is displayed. Because the width is less, so the horizontal menu cannot be displayed. And simply we require this icon, and then from here we want to go to this option. So this is nothing but completely functionality by using the JavaScript or already built in JavaScript, because as a designer we may not be familiar with the scripting part, like we may not have any background of the scripting. So in general, as a designer, no need to have any basics much scripting background. But here we'll be learning the basic script part, how to write the JavaScript, and mainly for the form validation, how we are going to write the script. And then we'll be completely depending on the plugins. So JavaScript built-in files will be there because we require the functionalities. So as a designer, we may not be able to write the script, but still we want to use some functionality. Then there will be an option like JavaScript library, which is already built-in plugin. This functionality will be already defined. Our option will be just opting that plugin into this site. So that is nothing but we call it as the jQuery. So main purpose being we want to apply some functionalities, like it may be some sliders, like most of the sites you find some images will be sliding from top, from left to right, right to left, with some fade effects, some different effects will be there. So all those type of functionalities we want to apply, then we go with the script, that is nothing but JavaScript, or simply we use the jQuery plugin. So here what I mean to say is, like whenever we want to, as an organization, if I want to start up some company, and if I am providing the services, I want to provide the services around the world. So as an individual, I can't go with marketing it. I can't reach the users from around the world either by face to face or by phone or something. The simple and the best option is, I can, if I create a website, where I can put information about my organization online, then that can be viewed by any user around the world. So in order to display the information, and we'll be arranging in a specific category, some specified categories, like you can see here, everything distributed: home, courses, separate option; reviews, separate option, so that the user can be easily understand. So here the design will be in such a way that it's not that completely displaying the information in one page. We'll be categorizing like how we want to separate the content: about us, courses, services, blog, contact page. So let's different pages we'll be trying to create. And then when we want to create a website, the first option is we need to create the web pages. And to create the web pages, the first thing what we require is the HTML, that is hypertext markup language, where completely we'll be dealing with the tags, that is mainly to display the content. So it may be text, images, videos, blogs, whatever the option. By using the tags, we'll be displaying that. And once the content is displayed by using the HTML, then next option will be to apply some styles to that displayed element. We'll be going with the CSS, cascade style sheet, nothing but different properties will be there. We need to apply the properties according to how we want to view the content in the output. And then sometimes we require some functionalities, like maybe on click, or when the user will hover on this, some functionality should occur. So all this will be by the JavaScript. So in general, either we can define some basic JavaScript, or if we require some advanced built-in functionalities, we'll be using the jQuery plugins. Okay, so this will be the main, like, and I'm going with the web designing part, because when you go with this web related, so there will be two options: web designing and web developing. Designing is completely front end, where we are going to display the content, and like whatever the content we are able to see is nothing but complete designing part. Whereas in some other websites, it may be e-commerce website, like if I say e-commerce, like products related. So this will be something like theme, already built in theme will be there. You need to take up that theme and work with that. But first of all, to work with this, you need to have a database. Without a database, you can't be able to use this themes and all. Okay, so working with the database, and this will be completely back-end work. Like we won't be sitting and defining like this block sizes, dimension, all these options. This will be already built in themes. We need to take up some create some databases and install this theme within the database. Then only option will be uploading the products, then automatically those options will be added. But this will be completely back-end, the developing part, because even there will be an option of sign up. Now sign up in the sense like here first the user has to enter some information, then continue, and then when we just sign up, so whatever the information we have stored, that should be completely stored somewhere. Now where does that store? In the sense nothing but there should be some databases again. So all the data will be stored in the database, so that the next time you go with login, because here all the script like PHP and creating the databases will be MySQL, that will be completely under developing part. Because here when I enter the username and password, so directly the script will be given that whatever we have entered here, it should check out within that database whether the same username is there, and to that username whether the same password has been given or not. If it is given, only then login, else it should display the message like invalid username or password. Okay, this will be backend. Backend completely dealing with the database, whereas here what you're able to see is nothing but completely front end, where we are able to display only the information and even these fields, because we don't require any database for this. So here what we require is just a basic PHP file will be there. As soon as you submit the message, we will be getting your details to our mail ID. We don't have any database for this. So only the thing is like small script will be there, already built in PHP file will be there. So as soon as you fill up this, and when you click on this button, so we will be getting all your details through mail, so that we can reply back, and if you're fine with that, then you can just join the course. Okay, but otherwise if you observe, so this is complete displaying the information. So there are different functionalities, HTML, CSS, everything we have made. So you can see this is complete just displaying the information, like what we are able to see. It's nothing like only if you sign up or only if you log in, only then you can be able to work on something or that. It is just displaying the information like this is our company having so and so placed in at so and so place, offering so and so services. If you require any details, either you can contact some basic contact form or directly through call or mail, you can just contact us. So this will be complete static websites. We call them as the static websites, wherein we want to just display the information and there will be some limited pages. Whereas in the dynamic websites, so if you can just observe, there are number of pages, but manually creating the pages won't be possible. So this will be based on the databases. They'll be just creating the product. As soon as I include a new option, directly a page will be created because that will be already built-in thing. So and how many pages are there in the sense, we can't exactly say, because again within this there will be some different products, different pages. There may be hundreds of pages depending on what are their products. Okay, there is static websites. Web designing will be completely dealing with the static website. Static websites, nothing but completely displaying the information, nothing related to database, only face to face. Like as a user I am able to check out some content about this organization, what is this organization and what are the courses provided and all those. And this is a static. If there is something like login, sign up, sign in, only then you can be able to get the access. You can be able to download something only if you're login. Then all those options will be completely dynamic related. Okay, because that will be database related. And here complete manual updates is required. So in the dynamic websites, so that will be automatic updates, like in comments, reviews. Because as soon as you type some comment, if it should be displayed in that updated in the website, so that will be dynamic because that will be automatic updates. If it is a static website, like as soon as you type the comment, if it is not getting displayed in that in the website, if it is directly not getting updated, then that means that that may be a static website. So only the client will check out if he has received some review, and then he has to manually update, he has to put that review manually on the page. So this will be the static website. Okay, so your simple option, like just whatever we are able to see, nothing like the website wants to collect some information from the user. Okay, so I'm just displaying the information, but I'm not asking anything like provide your email ID, provide your phone number or anything. Then this will be exact static website. If anywhere you get something like give me your a mobile name, a mobile number or mail ID, then either you have to sign up first, only then you can be able to log in. So those all will be completely dynamic. And as a web designer, so we can be able to create complete static websites. And the main technologies that we require will be HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So even in our curriculum, so we will be just checking out the options. Like first of all, we'll be working with the for HTML, CSS part, because that will be the backbone of any website you create. Nowadays, we get number of tools, like it may be a WordPress, or it may be some different softwares, like a Google Web Designer will be there. It may be any software. If there is some theme, then you can directly upload that theme and you can build up a site. But there will be one situation where you maybe have to manually, or you need to customize the site. Like for an example, so this is a site of our client. So generally, initially what we do is we just install a theme by using the WordPress. Okay, so for this installing the theme and everything, no need to have any idea of HTML, CSS, and anything. Directly some theme will be there. You need to just add up some options. You'll be applying, defining the pages. Automatically, this design and everything will be done. But at one stage, the client will ask, like, I don't require this design. Like, I don't want normal image to be displayed. I require something in design. Now, how to design that, or how to change the color, how we are going to specifically recognize what is this HTML, what is this part, and how we are going to apply the CSS will be done only if you have a complete knowledge of HTML CSS. Because in this software there may be some options, by using the some options you click directly, that may be created. But when a matter comes where you need to customize manually, you need to customize it, because there may not be option and direct. So if I suppose like a link, if I change some link color, so that will be updated in the whole website. But here I require a link of some color, I require some other link in some different color. So here you can see this is again a different color. This is also a link, like if I click on this, it will be redirected to some page. Even this is also a link, this will be redirected to some page. But here this is some grayish color, displaying some grayish color, and some underline option is there. But here you can see it is not displaying any grayish color of this text or no underline. That means here manually we have defined like this color should be different, bottom color should be different. Even like I require some different background for this, so I need to manually define this, because in the theme this style won't be there, it will just display some big image, but I need to reduce that size of the image, fit it within the block, and to make little bit attractive I have to add some background to this. Even the text will be normal text, but if I in case I want to add some shadow effect to this text, then unless and until we have a knowledge of HTML and CSS, only then we can be able to customize this. Okay, so we can say like HTML and CSS, combination of HTML and CSS, because first of all we need to display something, we go with HTML. Once that is displayed, then to that we want to apply some styling properties, then we'll be going with CSS properties. Okay, if we have a complete knowledge of how we use the tags, and to the tags how we are going to use the CSS properties, first of all what are the CSS properties, how we are going to apply that, then it may be manually we can creating able to create a site, or it may be through any softwares, if already some different softwares are available. So if you're even working on the software, but at time if you want to customize it manually, then you can go with customize. Okay, so this will be something like backbone, HTML, CSS, and functionality related. So there will be some plugins, already built in plugins, like we'll be using the jQuery. So we need to have a complete knowledge of this. Now coming to our curriculum, like throughout this course, so we will be learning first of all what is this HTML, what are the tags in this, and like if you have an idea, like if you're using some software, let us assume, like I don't know if you have an idea or not, but let us assume like a Photoshop software, there will be a image editing software like Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop. Now assume that the software won't be the same, like versions, there will be some different versions, like we can say like CSS, CS2, CS3, CS4, CS5, CS6, and now the present version of Adobe CC version, Creative Cloud version. So in that case generally what it is like there won't be anything different, everything will be same, some part within that will be a little bit different, like maybe they'll be including some new elements, some new tools may be included. So what they do is once they include some new elements and new tools, they'll simply release it as a new version. In the same way, when we are using the HTML, like here I'm using some tags, I'm using some different tags over here. So what tags we are using will be the HTML4 version, but at the same time nowadays, because almost from last year October 2014, we have to use HTML5 version, because there are some new elements in this, new tags included. We'll be using this, all this the basic structure, headings, paragraphs, content related, everything will be same. At the same time, when we say structure, like here the top section is there, so this top section we call it as the header, bottom section we call it as the footer. Okay, so like structural wise or some specific option we want to define, in the HTML5 we have some new elements. So that means that we are going to check out, work with HTML4, what are the tags, and then HTML5. What is the difference between this HTML4, HTML5? How we are going to use the HTML5 along with the HTML4. Okay, this will be completely tags. Using tags, so how we are going to display the content in the output. Now, once we know how to use the HTML part, then the next option will be the styling. Again, within this, the same options. Like I said, we want to apply some styles to text. Nothing but like it may be font size, it may be some font family, or it may be around about color, underlines, backgrounds, list, positioning, dimensions, different properties will be there. So all this we call it as the CSS2 properties. Okay, this will be the basic and almost will be using the most of the properties like font related, because here you can see this is a bold and this is a normal, little bit changes in the colors. So we'll be using the CSS2 properties. At the same time, some new additional properties. Okay, it's not that completely replacing, but along with the CSS2 we will be using some additional properties. Like if you observe here to the text, there is some light shadowish effect applied. So this shadowish effect is nothing but by using the CSS3 properties. Some new properties will be included. So it may be related to animation, shadow effects, gradients. So different options will be there. So if we want to use that, we can use the CSS3. So within this curriculum, the next, first will be the HTML4. What are the tags? How we use that. Then what are the HTML5 tags, newly tags, and how we are going to use that. Then once we are displaying the content, to that content, how we are going to apply the CSS properties, what are the CSS2 properties, and what are the CSS3 properties. We are completely going to learn all those. Now once we know how to use the HTML and CSS, then our next option will be clubbing them. Clubbing them is nothing but designing the layouts. So here we want to start up with the designing the layouts. So not by using WordPress or anything, just by using basic option. Even we can go with designing the website or designing the pages by using the basic notepad itself. Okay, so how we are going to will be once we know the HTML and CSS, then we'll be starting up designing the pages. Like I'll be showing you like one complete, like if there is some sample. So if I want to create something of similar type, then how we are going to use the HTML and how we are going to apply the CSS properties, so we can create complete page. So once we are able to create one page, then again another page, so go on. So that will be and link up to the menu, so that will be a complete website. Okay, so almost like 70 to 80% of the website work will be done just by using the HTML and CSS. Then the next option what we require is nowadays latest trend. Initially we were designing the websites separately for desktops, separately for mobiles, but nowadays we don't require to design separate. While designing the website itself, like designing the page itself, in general what we do is we will be taking up some concepts. By using those concepts directly, the page what we design will be a responsive page. Okay, so nowadays any client, if they require a basic website, even if it is a small business, if it's just a small website, but still they require a responsive website. The reason being is because nowadays most of them, if I want to search for something, so directly in my mobile itself I'll be having some internet and I'll directly search in the mobile. Now when we are searching something in the mobile, for an example, here I'm just reducing the size. Just observe, there is nothing like horizontal scroll bar at the bottom. It is just completely displaying one by one, and even the content is we are able to read. That is nothing but everything. I can read this. The next part I want to read, I can just scroll down. So I will be able to read this again. Scroll. Okay, so because if you observe the same thing when it is in the desktop, it is displaying side by side. You can see this complete text is displaying from starting from here to here, but the same when we view on the mobile. Okay, so your mobile is nothing but here I'm just reducing the browser width, so you can see everything is displaying just within the browser width. Okay, the main option of a responsive is nothing but the page layout should respond according to the devices in which it is viewed. Definition we say according to the devices in which it is viewed, the layout should change. Okay, the main option being the layout should fit within the device. But always remember, device is nothing but the browser width, because this page layout cannot understand like whether it is viewed in the mobile, it is viewed in the desktop. What it will does is like wherever we open the page, it will check out what is the width of the browser, and according to the width of the browser it will be changing the design. Okay, that design again we'll be manually defining that. But main option is like we want to display the website or simply the web page in such a way that it should change its layout design according to the browser width. But in general definition we say according to the device width is nothing but the browser width. Based on the browser width, the design should automatically change. Nothing but whatever we define, everything should be flexible. Okay, it should be able to just display within the browser width. And generally we consider four devices, like it may be mobile, tablets, desktops, and large devices. So completely based on these devices, nothing but when we say devices, there will be specific ranges. Based on that ranges, how the page should display. Whether it should display side by side, whether it should display one by one, within which range, how it should display will be the responsive concept. Okay, but it's not that I will be having something new language or something to learn. It's only that HTML and CSS will be using. The main option being some changes in the properties while defining the properties. Like simple example, if I define a block width of 900 pixel, that will be always having a width of 900 pixels. It may be on the desktop or it may be in the mobile. But when I define in percentage, the block will be flexible, because it will automatically calculate what is the browser width, and according to browser width, whatever the total width is there, the block width will be 90% of the browser width. Like if the browser width is 1000 pixels, the block width will be 900 pixels. The same when it is viewed in the mobile, if the mobile width is 300 pixels, the block width will be just 90% of that. So almost around 270 pixels. Okay, that is nothing but there will be some basic concepts like flexible grids, flexible images, and media queries. But overall, what we define will be in the sense that will be only HTML and CSS. Just a little bit concept will be changing. And in general, our main intention will be to make a page responsive no matter in whichever device it is viewed. And if you want to say whether this site is a response or not, simple option is whenever you reduce the browser width or when you check directly within the mobiles, there should not be any horizontal scroll bar at the bottom. If I want to read something, it should not be like reading each and every line by scrolling from left to right. Okay, scrolling from top to bottom will be common option, but there should not be anything like a horizontal scroll bar. If there is horizontal scroll bar, it is not a responsive website. If there is no horizontal scroll bar when we reduce the browser width, then that means it is a responsive website. Okay, so because the first we need to have a complete knowledge of HTML, CSS. Once we learn HTML, CSS, then by using the HTML and CSS, how we are going to create the pages. Once we are able to create the pages, normal pages we should be able to create. Once we know how to create the normal pages, then how to make that page a responsive. What will be the responsive concept? How we can be able to create a responsive site, and in general manually designing the responsive pages structure and everything will be a little bit time consuming. To avoid that, simply what we do is we'll be using the Bootstrap. Bootstrap is something like built-in CSS properties. Already the CSS everything will be built in. We have to just attach the CSS file, and based on like what output we require, we'll be using something like class names. Okay, that will be easier for us to design the page when we use the Bootstrap, and that will be complete responsive. Okay, we simply we say Bootstrap is nothing but a framework already built in CSS for a responsive site. Okay, so we'll be checking out like what is this Bootstrap, what are the options in that, and how we are going to design a page by using the Bootstrap. So first of all, we should know like what is response and what are the concepts of responsive. Then once we know what is the concept of responsive, then simply what it is will be using the Bootstrap to build the responsive pages. Okay, so here we'll be going in order. Like HTML, first we'll learn HTML, then the CSS. And when we say HTML in the sense HTML4 and HTML5, when we say CSS in the sense nothing but CSS2 and CSS3. Then designing the pages. So initially we can go with the designing it in the notepad, or still easier like linking up some images or anything. So it should be easier for us to link up and everything. Then we use the software, Dreamweaver software. So by using the software, still building the site will be easier. Then the next concept will be the responsive. What is this responsive? How we are going to define the responsive pages. Then by using the Bootstrap, how we are going to design the responsive pages. So this will be the order. Then next what we do is we'll be creating something like we'll be using the JavaScript. Like we'll be learning the basic. It's not in depth. Okay, it will be just a basic option like what is this JavaScript, how we are going to define the script part, what is that we are going to use in the script, and then basic functionality like for form validation, because here even that will be complete work of the developers, but still if some basic script we want to define, then we should have an idea of this JavaScript. But mainly we'll be concentrating on the jQuery, like how to use the plugins, because already built in there will be some thousands of plugins. It may be related to menu, like responsive menu. So even you can see here, this is nothing but a responsive menu, a jQuery plugin. Because by default it should be horizontal on the desktop, but as soon as we reduce the width, this should be something like displaying the icon, then some menu should be displayed. So like this. Okay, so this will be the general options. Okay, so here we'll be learning with the jQuery, like what is this jQuery script, how we are going to define. In simple terms, we can say jQuery is nothing but a JavaScript library wherein the functionality will be already built in. Our option will be just to use that function. And the main option of using that is nothing but already the JavaScript file which is built in, we need to attach it to our page, HTML page, and we to link up the JavaScript action, because the animation whatever is that will be written in the JavaScript file. So that animation should be applied to this particular HTML element, because there will be different HTML elements. Like this top section, only images are there. So I want this sliding effect to be applied only to these images. Then there will be some script by writing the jQuery. That is nothing but this HTML element should play the action that is defined in the JavaScript file. Okay, there will be just one sentence, but that will be in the jQuery script. So there we'll be learning like what is this jQuery, how do we install the jQuery plugins, how do we install the jQuery files, how what will be the method of installing the jQuery plugins. Okay, there will be different categories. Within the categories there will be number of options, number of plugins. Like in menu there may be hundreds of plugins, in sliders there may be hundreds of plugins, galleries, accordions, tabs, date pickers, even the form validation part. So number of options, different plugins will be available. Our option will be just if we know the method of installing the plugins, then we can be able to install any jQuery plugin. Okay, so we'll be taking up different categories, different plugins, how we are going to install it in our page. Once we know how to install the jQuery, because we'll be learning HTML, CSS, and even the jQuery plugin, then completely if you're able to create a site, so whatever we create, that will be in our local systems. The main intention of designing a website is we want to display that online. We want to put it on the internet. Then to display that on the internet, first of all, we require a domain name. If I want to display something on the internet, I need to first go with registration. Registering is nothing but I will need to purchase an IP address, but directly we won't be purchasing the IP address, but we will be purchasing or simply registering in the form of domain name. So this is a domain name is nothing but simply that will be a company name followed with an extension. This extension depends on what type of business it is, or services within this country or different countries, country code level. If it is a non-profit organization, .org. If it is just a commercial business type, then they can go with a .com. So there will be different extensions based on the type of business. There will be we'll be taking up some domain. The main intention being we want to register on internet. Okay, so by default, when we purchase the domain name, an IP address will be assigned to this domain name. Okay, so that IP address will be the main option. But this is only domain. Taking up the domain is nothing but taking up the IP address, only displaying the domain name. But as soon as the user will type the domain name, so all this information, like it may be different pages, or first of all, these pages needs to be displayed. A domain name can be linked up only with the server. It cannot be linked up with a normal system because this will be saved on our system. So I can't directly link up this domain name with my system. We require a server operating system and maintenance, like an internet connection. It should be, a system should always be on, operating system should be server operating system. As an individual, maintaining will be difficult. So simply what it is will be depending on the third parties, wherein whose work will be only maintaining the servers. We just require some space on the server so that we can upload our files and put it on the server. We call that process as the hosting. Storing the files on the server, nothing but we call it as the hosting. Once we purchase some space on the server, upload the files, then we will be linking up that server with this domain name. Then our website will be ready. So any user will type the domain name. So it will just connect, it will check out what is the IP address, to the IP address which server is connected, and to that server what are the pages that are linked up. Okay, our option, as soon as you type the domain name, pages will be displayed. But backend, this will be complete function that will be occurring. It will check out what is the IP address to this domain name. Then it will check out it will just go and check out to this IP address what is the server connected. Then once the server is connected to within that server, what are the files, and then these files will be displayed. Okay, so that is what is this domain, what is this hosting, we'll be learning at the end. Once we have a complete knowledge of this, sometimes we may require some images editing. Like if I want to display some image, like if you're able to see this design, if I want something like within the circle, this image should be fitting within this circle. So if I want to edit this, the software that we use will be the Photoshop software. At the same time, even before starting up designing this page in the HTML and CSS, if I want to design the same sample in the Photoshop software, okay, that is only for reference purpose, but it is not that if you design something in the Photoshop software, directly that will be displayed in the browser. It is just for reference purpose, just to view that I require some design of so and so type. Once if I have an idea of a layout from the Photoshop, the same thing if I want to display on the internet, first of all I want to convert that into a HTML page. Nothing but using the HTML and CSS. So then we'll be learning the Photoshop software, what are the tools, how we use the tools, then using those tools, how we can go with images editing, how we can design the complete layout. Okay, so this will be the in process, like we'll be going with the graphic design using the Photoshop software, images, how we are going to edit, and how we are going to create the layouts. And sometimes like this slider, advanced slider, I may be using the jQuery plugin, but basic option I require, then I'll be using the Flash software. Like just a basic animation, like images should slide, or some text should move from left to right as soon as you open the site. Some basic animation, or sometimes you can see some advertisers sites. So simply if you want to design that, we can go with the Flash. Though nowadays many online softwares, animation softwares are there, but still like old and much used, easy to design will be the Flash software. Okay, that is the two-dimensional animation software. So how we can be able to create the animations, and once we create the animations, how we are going to insert those within the HTML page. Okay, will be the concept in Flash. Okay, so completely like we'll be going with first learning HTML4 and HTML5, then CSS2 properties and CSS3 properties, then how we are going to use those HTML and CSS to create the pages, then functionality part, how we are going to apply, Okay, and before that, it's a responsive because we need to create the pages in responsive. What is that responsive concept and how we are going to apply? And then our script part. So how we are going to use the JavaScript, and the main option will be how we are going to apply some different plugins within the page by using the jQuery. Then the main part will be the if once we are creating some site within the system, then how we are going to put it online. That is first of all taking up the domain name and linking up the server where we store the files with the domain name. Okay, that will be completely live. I will be showing you like taking up this domain name, and then how we are going to link up the server, how we are going to work on the server directly. So live server will be there. So we'll be editing, how to edit, how to upload the files. I'll be showing you live. Then we require some images editing, layouts creating. So directly we can use the Photoshop software. So different tools and everything will be there. How we use the tools, and using those tools, how we are going to work with images and designing the layouts. Then Flash software. So that is nothing but how to create the animations by using those animations. Once we design something, how we are going to implement that into the HTML page. Okay, so this will be our total curriculum which we'll be learning through this course. Okay, so overall, that is nothing but creating a complete static website. Okay, dynamic in the sense that will be something like sign up, sign in, login, all those options will be there, completely related to database. That will be the development part. Here we'll be dealing with only the designing parts. Okay, complete static websites. And regarding this, this will be complete around 35 to 36, 36 or 37 sessions. Okay, and each session will be 1.5 hours. That is 7:30 p.m. to 9 evening, 7:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday will be having that classes. Okay, each session 1.5 hours. So that means almost it will be around 48 to 50 hours, or simply around 35 to 36 sessions. Okay, and if once we complete this, like even today, like whatever we have been discussing, so everything is being recorded, and once we complete the session, so the same recording I'll be converting into mp4 video, and I'll be forwarding it. That session link will be shared. Like in case if you're coming late, or if you're not able to attend today's session, not a problem, you can directly check out the video, because the daily after the session, so by night itself I'll be giving the link, I'll be giving the access to that video. Okay, so even you can like even later on if you have any doubts, you can go through the video. So still if you're not able to understand, then you can directly contact me. So either after the sessions I'll be sorting up your doubts, or Saturdays between 10 to 5. Okay, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'll be free. So if you have any doubts, you want to individually, if you want to ask something, then you can just put me a mail. So I'll reply back. There is nothing but I will be giving some time, specific time to individual student. So within that time, we can discuss like whatever you have doubts and everything. We can clarify everything. Okay, so either regular days after the session, or at once on Saturday, like 1 to 2 hours, I can allot you. Then we can just completely sort out your doubts. Okay, so I guess we'll stop here.